Media playback is unsupported on your device. Media caption: Congresswoman Frederica Wilson. How insensitive can you be? U.S. President Donald Trump says a claim that he made insensitive remarks to the recently bereaved widow of a soldier is totally fabricated. Congresswoman Frederica Wilson said he had told Michelle Johnson he knew what he was signing up for, but I guess it hurts anyway. The Democratic lawmaker said she was shocked by the alleged comments. Sergeant David Johnson was among 4 U.S. Special Service soldiers killed in Niger by Islamist militants this month. Mr. Trump had already been criticized for not contacting the families of the dead servicemen right after the fatal ambush on the 4th of October. Image copyright Getty Images. Image caption: Mr. Trump has been criticized for the alleged remarks by Anthony Zurcher, senior North America reporter, BBC News on U.S. politics. Nothing is off limits anymore. After inaccurately swiping at his predecessors for not calling the family members of U.S. soldiers killed in combat, Mr. Trump is on the defensive over allegations he mishandled a call with a grieving widow. The accuser is a partisan Democratic congresswoman, and the president, not surprisingly, is pushing back hard. This controversy is spiraling towards the gutter. Mr. Trump made this bed, however. He was quick to cite the slain son of Chief of Staff John Kelly to justify his contention that Barack Obama didn't always make phone calls. Then there were the disparaging comments candidate Mr. Trump made last summer about the parents of a Muslim American soldier killed in Iraq. The more this story drags on, and it will drag on, the more damage it could do to a president who wraps himself in the symbols of patriotism and the military, but is in danger of being viewed by the public as lacking empathy when it counts most. An important presidential role is consolation during times of tragedy. Successful politicians learn early that they need a human touch. It's a job Mr. Trump, the anti-politician, has little experience doing, and it shows. How did Trump respond? The president tweeted on Wednesday morning, Democrat congresswoman totally fabricated what I said to the wife of a soldier who died in action, and I have proof. SADMR Trump has yet to provide any evidence. A White House official said Mr. Trump's conversations with the families of dead servicemen were private. Mr. Trump later told reporters, I did not say what Ms. Wilson said. I had a very nice conversation. When asked about what proof he could offer, Trump said, let her make her statement again, then you will find out. What do his accusers say? Ms. Wilson, who represents a Florida district, told CNN the president's call had been made shortly before Sergeant Johnson's coffin arrived by aircraft in Miami. Ms. Wilson told WPLG, a Miami TV station, she had heard the president's so insensitive remarks to the widow on speakerphone in a limousine. Yeah, President Trump said that, Ms. Wilson said. To me, that is something that you can say in a conversation, but you shouldn't say that to a grieving widow. And everyone knows when you go to war, you could possibly not come back alive. But you don't remind a grieving widow of that. Image copyright CBS News. Army. Ms. Wilson told The Washington Post that Ms. Johnson, who is expecting the couple's third child, had broken down in tears after the conversation. He made her cry, Ms. Wilson said. The congresswoman told the newspaper that she had wanted to grab the phone and curse him out, but an Army sergeant who was holding the handset would not let her speak to the president. She later responded to Mr. Trump's denial by tweeting, I stand my count of the call with @Real Donald Trump, and was not the only one who heard and was dismayed by his insensitive remarks. And Sergeant Johnson's mother, Kanda Jones Johnson, told the Washington Post newspaper that President Trump did disrespect my son. She said she was present during the call from the White House on Tuesday, and stood by Ms. Wilson's account of the call. How did this row begin? Mr. Trump has been on the defensive over the deaths in Niger since a reporter asked him at the White House on Monday why he had still not called the families. He provoked fury by falsely claiming that his predecessor, Barack Obama, and other former U.S. presidents had not called the relatives of dead service members. Media playback is unsupported on your device. Media caption: Trump denigrates Obama over false fallen soldier claim. Mr. Trump also said he had written letters to the families of the 4 killed in Niger and planned to call them soon. The White House later said the president had spoken to the families, but it did not say when. On Tuesday, Mr. Trump ratcheted up the row by suggesting that President Obama had not called the family of Mr. Trump's Chief of Staff, Gen. John Kelly, when his son was killed in Afghanistan in 2010. The Associated Press says that, like presidents before him, Mr. Trump has made personal contact with some families of dead soldiers, but not all. What's different is that Trump, alone among them, has picked a political fight over who's done better to honor the war dead and the families, the news agency reports. He placed himself at the top of this pantheon, boasting Tuesday that "I think I've called every family of someone who's died while past presidents didn't place such calls. Have there been previous run-ins? This is not the first time Mr. Trump has found himself in an imbroglio over U.S. veterans." As presidential candidate, he mocked Senator John McCain for having been captured as a prisoner of war in Vietnam. He also engaged in a racially charged